Bang. Okay, so I'm hoping. Do you want to say you're in? To say accept recording? You
Yeah.
got it. So you're on. We're recording. Okay, so we're recording. Okay, DJ Reedy. Just so you know, three, two, one, and clap. That's me, and we'll go in a moment. I'll just pause. Okay, Adam, with relation to T20 cricket and the tactics that are being applied to some success, and we're going to draw upon your experience through the recent WBBL and now moving into the BBL as an assistant coach, but also then being a head coach with the Seattle Thunderbolts and the USA Cricket. So T20 cricket, how and what is factored in when the team's batting first, please?
I think we look at the ground, we look at what historically has happened there. We do the math behind if it's a chasing ground, if it's a setting ground, the type of wicket we have, I guess the boundaries, and probably the time of day if you play a day game versus a night game. So different factors will come into it. At the moment, there's probably a real bowl first, probably what would you say, a bowl first fashion at the moment that people like doing it and people like bowling first, knowing what they have to chase is a big thing. But yeah, personally, I've always been a bit of a bat first guy.
So how do you sort of bat the other team out of the game? What are you looking for? Like on the whiteboard, how are you structuring up what unfolds, please?
Yeah, I think you've really got to know your different teams. That some teams will have, you've got to know whether you're going to back end the innings or you're going to be front ending the innings. If you go hard at the start and you try and take the power play, you have to be of the understanding that you're going to lose wickets, because it's unfair to ask your team to go at 10 and over, 12 and over without losing wickets. So the risk reward goes up, and depends on the cattle that you have, the players that you have. Do you have the ability to really take down the power play and make that a difference in the game?
So with relation to the back end, the sort of attributes you're looking for in a player to handle that. So the back end of the game is when, please, what sort of time on and what attributes in a player you're looking for?
We sort of look at it from 16 to 20, so that sort of last four over burst, of the very, that I guess at the very back end. If you go 1 to 6, or depending on the tournament as well. If your power play is 1 to 6, or these days in say the Big Bash,
Yep.
the power play is 1 to 4, and then you have two surge overs in the back 10. So depending on the rules of the thing, but if we say it's a standard international, 1 to 6, and then we'd then go from 6 to 10, 10 to 16, and 16 to 20 is sort of our four zones that we break it up into.
Okay. And then just to finish with, so then the attributes then. So what are you looking for in a player to be capable of handling that situation, please, when you're batting first?
At the back end, we're really looking for players that can clear the fence,
Okay.
but also players that don't get stuck on strike. So
Mhm.
being able to rotate the strike to keep scoring until that ball comes is really important, because there's no point somebody trying to hit a four, dot ball, hit a four. You're 4 off 3 rather
Mm.
than 1-1-1-4. The content, like the tempo of the innings, can get really broken at the back end of a T20 game if too many dot balls happening with players trying to clear the fence.
Understand. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Tactics then when it comes to the run chase. So I suppose the basic things that fit part of the framework, and then how would you change the situation in a run chase with the structure of your team, please?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, again, comes back to knowing your team. Are you a front end team? Are you going really hard in the power play, or are you taking it deep and going at the end? One thing that you always really try and do is keep that run rate under control. For me, I think when it gets 12 and above, you're starting to be in trouble. So you've got to, even if it starts at, if you're chasing 190 and you're sort of 9.5 and over,
Mm.
that's okay. It can balloon out to 11, But once it starts getting to 12, 13, you're in some trouble. So in those situations on a really high chase, it's probably inevitable you need to front end it and you need to go hard to get that run rate back under control. We seem to think in men's cricket specifically that 8.5, 9 run and over is under control. When you start pushing north of 10, things can go wrong pretty quickly. The lower, the less overs you've got to go.
Yeah. I'm just going to pause it there, mate, just for a moment, just because that's okay. You come in, mate. You come in. Love you. There you go. That's okay. It's a pause. Good night. So pause there, DJ. Ready? Just for that one coming in. The other one coming now. That's all right. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, and we'll move on to pause. Adam, when bowling in the power play, and there seems to be a whole range of different theories about bowling structures and bowling types. In the power play, what did the Renegades did you find used some success recently, please?
Yeah, I guess with the Renegades with the WBBL, we use spin quite well in the power play. Again, I think all bowling in the power play, you're trying to limit the shots or where the batsman is actually going to hit the ball. You've only got 2 outfielders, so really being good on your skills is huge. You can't, if you're going to have a long on and a square leg, you need to be bowling at the stumps. If you're going to have a long off and a third man, you need to be bowling wide of the stumps. So having those plans in place to make sure that you've got the protection of where you're bowling is super important.
And as a preference in that situation, do you like to see the 2 outfielders on the one side or on opposing sides? Where do you sort of fit on that tactic, please?
Again, it will be different for different players, but if you do have a player that is strong on one side, you definitely would happily stack that side, especially if you've got the skill to be able to bowl outside off stump and asking, for instance, outside off stump, having 2 on the offside, asking the player to hit across the line and bringing in all sorts of dismissals. But in saying that, if you're bowling outside off stump, you then can't get close to the stumps, because if you then come closer to the stumps, you're easy pickings for boundaries in the power play.
And just so when you say outside off stump, so conventionally we're taught top of off. Are we aiming at a 5th stump here or 6th stump line? Where are you sort of looking at, please?
Yeah, probably. Especially, say if it was a fast bowler bowling that was potentially able to swing the ball away, you would happily be in that sort of 4th, 5th stump, swinging away, trying to get the batsman to hit, the batters to hit to the offside, making them, if they want to take the risk and go across, they're going across the line, across the swing, to try and get their boundary, bringing in more risk.
So just I'll give you 2 examples of players there. So firstly, Peter Siddle and then Shabnam Ismail. So Peter Siddle, who's not the fastest in the men's side of thing, but excellent control. So where would he, in the power play, how would he handle that, please?
Yeah, I think he's got the skill to be able to play around with his power play fields. But yeah, for him bowling to a right-hander, someone like Siddle would probably start with that either third man deep cover and look to move the ball away. But then he'd also have the ability to be able to put fine leg back and deep square leg back at the ball that he comes in, really matching up what ball you're bowling with the field, because we don't need to start the over and finish the over with the same field. T20 cricket, we all get stuck in this mode of that's the field, we just stick with it. Whereas you need the field to match the ball. If you're going to bowl an outswinger outside off stump, have your protection there. If you're going to attack the stumps, have your protection there. If you're going to go short, have your protection back. If you're going to go slower balls, bring your fine leg third man up and put your protection where you think the ball's going to go. And all it is with any field restrictions, it's protecting the sides or protecting the parts of the ground where you don't have protection.
And then in relation to the WBBL, so you had experience recently with Shabnam Ismail, who's from South Africa, who's rated as the fastest. I think she's the fastest bowler in the world right now. So,
she's pretty close, yeah.
And she is quick.
Yeah, very.
She gets them through very quick. So, in that case, then Shabnam, who is quick for that competition, how does she approach the power play situation?
So yeah, she approaches it really attacking. Like she tries to attack and attack the stumps, attacks with the short ball. She has probably the best short ball in women's cricket. So she was able to attack those batsmen, those batters just with the short ball or trying to nick them off. We would potentially have a slip in place, trying to just get a genuine dismissal, where the skill of the ball beats the bat.
So when Shabnam's when she's bowling a short ball, where are her fielders set? Is she more leg side, offside, or where does she sort of? How does she normally stack up?
It's one of those ones, depending on if the girls can uppercut and go
Hmm.
over the man,
Hmm.
but otherwise she's very good with her line on her bouncer. So she did have the ability to go fine leg, deep square leg,
Yep.
and short ball at the shoulder. Otherwise, if we thought the girls could ramp, then she'd probably have fine leg third man.
So short ball at the shoulder height and at that
Shoulder
sort of
height,
line.
and,
Yep.
and if I'm a right hander, really trying to get it on this side of the ear,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
really aiming in this place. So the only option is really there. It's
To
very
go
hard
that
to
way up
go
there.
the other way.
Got
Yeah.
it. The next phase, please, is we're gonna get your view on the role of spinners outside the power play because we do tend to find, particularly more the WBBL, it's quite common to play a large group of spin bowlers in with various options. So, what worked well outside the power play and how you would structure those up, please?
Yeah, one of the biggest lessons I think is whichever way the ball is spinning, whichever way you're spinning the ball to, have the extra fielder on that side. So if you're a right arm off spinner bowling to a right hander, have that extra fielder on the leg
Leg
side.
side.
If you're a left arm orthodox bowling to a right hander, have that extra fielder on the offside.
Hmm.
So making sure you mirror that up. But I think it's just protecting your zones. Obviously, with WBBL, there's only 4 out, so you've only got 4 zones that you can protect.
Hmm.
Again, needing to make sure that you understand where your other, I guess, 5th and 6th zones are. So if the ground gets taken into 6th, being long on, long off, deep cover, mid wicket, fine leg, third man, you can only really protect 4 of those. So there's always going to be 2 zones that are open. So you need to make sure you're bowling away from those zones.
Away from it. And maybe just on this point, you had the pleasure of working with Sophie Molyneux, who's outstanding at any standard in this game. So just talk us through the tactics that she would draw upon and her skill sets are where she's got herself to now in being such a high level bowler in this sort of period of the game.
Yeah, she was outstanding and has skills and control that most don't. So she was really able to lock up the batters and make sure that it was really tough to score. One of the really important things for a bowler like Soph, and really any spin bowler, is to have their mid wicket and cover the box fielder really tight because you want to drag some dot balls and you want to keep a batter on strike by doing that by bringing in cover and really having the old in-out fields. So your infielders that are in the ring, they're really hunting for one, and the outfielders are sitting back. And a lot of our outfielders in the BBL, we talk about fields. Gone are the days where you say, let's sit on the rope. Gone are the days let's no ball can ever go over your head and go for 4. Simon Helmut, who's the head coach of the Melbourne Renegades, is very big on the drop zone. We've done a lot of homework on the drop zone, being that sort of 20 to 25 meters inside the boundary.
Yeah.
So the fielders are now starting more like baseball outfielders rather than cricket outfielders. A cricket outfielder would traditionally be on the rope, get on the rope, get on the fence, make sure you're on the fence. Now the game is changing, and we've seen the English do it in the recent T20 World Cup in the men's, and there's a lot of teams doing it through world cricket now. They're like 15, 20 meters inside the boundary, and they're willing to live with that ball that goes over the head and bounces just inside. But it means that they're going to catch a lot of those balls in the drop zone that we see traditionally in cricket. That's one bounce to the outfielder.
So just with that, explain again just the tight of those positions. So if you've got cover mid wicket, so in the box, they're virtually in line with the bowling crease. So they're fairly straight. When you say tight, you mean as in tight, as in close to the bowler? Is that what you?
Is in pretty straight. So
Yeah. Okay.
my default is using the foul line, which is the front foot no ball line as
Yep.
a foul line extended each
Yep.
side, and really having them pretty tight, which makes batters have to hit across the line,
Cross the line or
side
square.
out, square. So we're making it harder for them when someone like Soph Molyneux will bowl a straight line and they want to hit down the ground. We're making sure that those mid-wicket and cover are really tight and really in on one and straight, trying to stop that ball going to long on for an easy single.
Yeah.
If you can stop that, and then you're getting them to move across, like trying to hit the ball to sort of mid-wicket square leg, brings in LBW, brings in a range of other against the spin dismissals, and
And if you
Soap's
and
been really successful.
And if you're working that well as a spinner, because there's something Bryce McGain's hot on about, his view is that as a bowler, if you get that right, that also then allows you to tactically bring in a slip if you need to as well, because you've got the batter thing you're trying to hit across the line or through the zone. So it becomes, it's almost like you've set up it defensively. You're actually creating an attacking aspect.
And one of the things that I think is really missed with a lot of captains and in a lot of game planning is it's not actually sometimes where you keep your fielder. It's a lot of the time it's where you keep your gap. Making sure that the batter you're playing against is hitting to a gap that you want them to hit to, not the gap that they've created. So you want to make sure you've got a fielder here, here, and here, and you're happy with them to hit to a certain gap, and making sure, and that's again someone like Bryce McGain was very good at it, making sure that the batter would always hit to a square gap, then bringing in caught behind, caught at slip, caught in the covers. There's a lot of making sure the gap is big enough. And Shane Warne was amazing at this. It was a lot of the time not where the field was actually set. It was where he was getting the players to hit.
Yeah. And the last thing for now on the tactics side of thing, Adam, is we'll just touch on the field settings. And please correct me if I get the language here wrong, but creating a defensive or a protected zone with your field settings where you're wanting to manage the outcome. So just some examples there, please.
Yeah, look, I think again, this is coming down to where your strengths are as a bowler, how where you want the batter to hit, where we know the batter would hit. And in those situations, you really need to make sure that you're covering the bases where you want to hit. Again, matching up the ball you're about to bowl with the field. There's no point if you're going to bowl a bouncer. There's no point having fine leg up. If you're going to bowl a slower ball, there's no point having third man back. Just making sure that the defensive zones that you're protecting match up with the ball you're going to bowl.
Outstanding. Adam, thank you for the insights here from the recent experience in a full WBBL season with the Melbourne Renegades, and good luck as you start on the BBL in the near distant future, and being able to work with Simon Helmut and David Saker, who are both very experienced, not just here in Australia, but internationally in this space in all formats. And thanks for joining us on Cricket Mentoring and covering the aspect of tactics.
Thank you, mate. Anytime.
And that's a wrap ready. So I'm going to turn that off now. Okay.